what are you doing here?
Well, this is my vehicle, you know.
Yes, I know that, but you see,
I know. You thought that you were going to have the car this morning to run your errands. Well, as it turns out, I've got a few errands to run myself. So we'll both use the car. That's all I do.
Well, I suppose it is. Although I am in a bit of a hurry. See, I'm getting married this afternoon.
So, it's true. It really all just wasn't a ploy.
Yes, it's true. And nobody is going to stop me.
That's where you're wrong. Gunther, the doors.
All right, what do you think you're doing?
Well, locking us in, of course. To make sure that you don't walk down the wedding aisle.
Let me out of this car.
Let's you and I have a little talk.
I said let me out of this car. I could have you arrested for kidnapping.
Who's going to arrest me? Derek Mallory? Come on, Raven. I'm doing you a favor. Just how far did you plan to let this little wedding game of yours go?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Admit it. You'd like for the both of us to just drive off right now and leave poor Derek up there alone at the altar with me. Start the car.
Gunther, no! Stop the car!
You know, you better be careful, honey. You might just get carried away and really marry this guy, and we both know that that's not what you really want.
Let go of me, you arrogant fool!
Let the lady out, Gunther. Move the car, Gunther.
Oh, Raven, I'm still the same man you married. Believe that. I'm still the same man who loves you. I want you to know that whatever happens, I love you. I love you more than I thought it was possible to love anyone.
Sky.
Raven, look, I've got an important phone call to make. I'll talk to you later.
No,
Goodbye.
Oh, my God.
She'd know that I planned it all out.
Operator, room 611. Gunther, get the car. I said, get the car!
Good night, dear heart. Everything is fine now. Okay. Come on. My guy, he's dead. I killed a man. Come on. Sit down.
Sky, how did you get here?
I flew. I took a jet, a private jet. I just couldn't stand being separated from you, honey, so I came home. And I saw there was a car parked in the driveway to one side, and then there was Geraldine's car out front.
Oh, God, Geraldine, she's hurt. She might be dead.
No, that's right. I wasn't a dead ringer for Sky, but people who knew me slightly would never know the difference. Especially after the plane crash.
Of course. They would all figure it was from the accident.
That's right. So even little scars that were left from the operation, they could be easily explained away. But the most important thing was the people who knew Sky well, I mean the people here in Monticello, hadn't seen him in 14 years. And he only had one living relative, one dear old aunt.
Geraldine. And you fooled her.
You bet I fooled her, just as I fooled all those bankers and the lawyers. And I'd be surprised how well people treat you when you've got money, Raven. It may be the single most important attribute of wealth. And I knew if I could fool Geraldine, I would have it made. I'd be Skylar Whitney for the rest of my life.
If she only knew.
And dear old Sky, he loved to talk about his aunt and her remarkable family. And then again, she was a very public person. I had no trouble finding out anything I needed to know. There were one or two faux pas.
Like what?
Well, like when I first told Geraldine that I was going to buy the mansion, I said, you know, and I could hardly remember what it was like. She reminded me that I had never set foot in it. But it was only a minor matter. It didn't make her alarmed.
And you got away with it.
Yes, I did. And you know, after the first couple of weeks, it was no longer a masquerade. I mean, I really began to feel like Sky Whitney.
Does he haunt you? I mean, do you think about him out there in the snow?
Raven, he was dead. I mean, he was dead out there, dead and buried, and I was alive. Can you think what a waste this would have been? I mean, all this. All the Whitney millions. I mean, most of it would have gone to the government. And he was dead as a mackerel. Oh, no. I couldn't let all this estate remain untouched by human hands. I mean, let it go to the government for to build highways or ballistic missiles or something. I mean, how could I do that?
You couldn't! And you didn't, and you did the right thing, and I love you! You're wonderful! And we are gonna take the world for a ride.
Oh, Gunther.
Well, how about that, Mr. Whitney? Did I do a number on that kid, or did I?
Gunther, you were splendid. All right, now, come on. Let's get a move on here. You may have called the cops or an ambulance.
Yeah, good. You brought the police, huh? It worked like a charm, Mr. Whitney. The only thing is, I couldn't get him to shoot me from a distance, you know? I know you wanted at least 10 feet. But he wouldn't play the game, so I had to grab the gun and pull the trigger myself, the little sissy.
Oh, that's all right, Gunther. I'll just remove these blanks here and replace them with the real thing. Then I will drive you over to the house, put you in the attic, and I'll get you your money.
Cash, Mr. Whitney. Nothing but cash.
Oh, yes, Gunther, nothing but cash. And then I will tell Gavin that I have just saved his heart. And that I have taken your body and given you a private burial.
Oh, he's going to be so grateful to you, Mr. Whitney.
Oh, yes, he'll do anything I ask him now.
Yeah, he's going to be so scared. Oh, there's one thing, Mr. Whitney. I've never been up in the attic in your house there. Is there going to be enough room for me?
Oh, yes, Gunther. Plenty of room. You'll be very comfortable.
You know, I got to hand it to you, Mr. Whitney. You sort of blew it with that situation with Romeo Slade, but you sure did a good job this time.
Yes, Gunther, I really used my head. You see, now I've got Gavin Wiley under control. And you get to go to heaven.
That's right, Mr. Whitney. Oh, man, I'm going to find myself a tropical paradise.
Well, that's not exactly the kind of heaven I had in mind, Gunther. Huh? I'm sorry I neglected to tell you this part of the joke, Gunther. Somehow I didn't think that you would appreciate the punchline.
Yes?
I'd like to speak to Mr. Whitney, please.
One moment.
That's all right, Gunther. I hope you're not going to waste any time telling me what you want here, Tyler.
No time at all. I'm just delivering a message from Martine Duval.
What?
Miss Duval has asked me to explain to you that circumstances require that she resign from the Whitney Dance Company. She also sends her deepest regrets.
She can't resign. She can't walk out on me. She's under contract.
Hey, I'm just carrying a message, Mr. Whitney.
Where is she?
I really can't say. I just know that she's left town.
She can't leave. She's got a performance tonight.
Well, you're just going to have to do without her because she's gone. So is Carlo Crown.
They left together?
Looks that way.
Are you still saying that this guy Crown and Wells is one and the same person?
Well, I made a mistake about that, Mr. Whitney. Apparently, Carlo Crown is exactly who he says he is. Anyway, they've left together. And that's the message. So you have a good day.
Now, you know more about this than you're telling me.
Mr. Whitney, you don't know that it's a felony to assault a police officer.
Spencer.
Please let go of Mr. Whitney.
Well, Spencer, since you asked so politely, why not? Look, I don't like to use unnecessary roughness, Mr. Whitney, but I think you better learn to control your temper.
Throw him out, Spencer.
Hey, I would try that if I were you. Now, I don't think it's a good idea for you to ask your new employee to do too much, Mr. Whitney. You see, he's already had a rough life as it is.
What are you talking about?
Well, you asked Spencer.
I'm asking you.
Well, Mr. Varney has already killed 2 men, Mr. Whitney.
No. Will you please tell me what it will take to keep you police officers from hounding me in my house, Mr. Stone?
I wasn't aware that the restriction applied to me, Mr. Whitney. I knew that Damian Tyler was unwelcome here, as you've made that clear on several occasions. But I thought you'd be satisfied by the fact that he's been suspended.
Yes, I find that a very comforting thought. You can go now, Spencer. I'll call you if I need you. Well, all right. Get on with it, will you?
A small detail has come to my attention with regard to a former servant of yours, Gunther Wagner.
What about him?
We've been informed that he bought a box of blank cartridges. Would you know anything about that by any chance?
Blank cartridges? No. I wouldn't know anything about it, and I don't know whether I'd believe this story or not. As far as I know, Gunther never owned a gun.
Mr. Whitney, are you sure you know nothing about a box of blank cartridges?
I just told you that, didn't I? How many times do I have to repeat it? Now, if you don't have any more questions, I have got affairs to take care of. Thank you.
Certainly. Oh, one more thing, please. Have you had occasion to buy a watch from a Hoffman's antique jewelry store?
Yes, as a matter of fact, I have. For my wife. An old pendant watch. Now, is there a criminal action in that?
Oh, no. Thank you for your time.
What is it, Spencer?
I was wondering if I might leave the house for lunch today. Will you be needing me, sir?
No, I won't be needing you, Spencer. You may go.
Thank you, sir.
And some big help you turned out to be, Gunther. Even from the grave, you're behind this. I know it. Somehow, you're behind it. Why didn't you just buy the cartridges somewhere out of town? Instead of getting them from your crummy friends. Now I'm going to have to find them. But hell, I can't even remember their names. All I can remember is that they hung out in some hole in the wall. What was the name of that place?
Damn you, Gunther! Why won't you stay dead?
I ran into Mrs. Whitney at the hospital, sir.
The hospital? What were you doing at the hospital?
Oh, Skylar, you know.
I tried to explain that the only reason that I was there was to determine the condition of the detective.
Would you stop lying?
When I saw Mrs. Whitney coming out of Detective Tyler's room, I asked her...
Wait a minute. When you saw what?
When I saw your wife coming out of his room, sir, I asked her...
No, that's all right, Spencer. You can go now.
Yes, sir.
You went to see him?
Oh, so what?
That man has been trying to ruin me, Raven. He's been trying to hurt me every way that he can.
He was just stabbed.
I thought that my enemies were your enemies. And here you are, you're going and you're holding his hand?
I'm going upstairs.
Well, how is he, Raven, huh? Is he on his deathbed? Did you kiss him farewell?
No, he's fine. As a matter of fact, he's going to be perfectly okay. Does that make you happy?
No.
Well, it does me.
Oh, gosh, my brush for a second.
Why did you force me to do this? Why couldn't you stop your questioning, your doubting? You brought this on yourself. Why? When everything could have been so perfect.
Well, I better get you safe. Okay. I'll go down, I'll find ski patrol.
Frustrated days pass will outside the air.